Hi, my name is Kerry, and this month is Diabetes Awareness Month. And I'm a diabetic. Yeah, I know. I don't look like a diabetic. But there are conditions out there in the world that do exist, and you can't tell that someone has them. I have had diabetes since I was 10. I do like eating sweets and chocolate, but that wasn't the reason why I was diagnosed with diabetes. Many types of diabetes do involve a diet, or you have to control it through your diet. I have type 1 diabetes, which means I have to inject myself with insulin. I printed out some facts so I knew what I was going to say, but diabetes is a long life condition that causes a person's blood sugar level, or glucose, to become too high. The hormone insulin, produced by the pancreas, is responsible for controlling the amount of glucose in the blood. Type 1 diabetes can develop at any age, but usually appears before the age of 40, particularly in childhood, which happened with me, and I was 10 years old. And it's sometimes called juvenile diabetes or early onset diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is caused by the pancreas not working, or Type 1 diabetes is caused by the pancreas not working. The pancreas is a small organ behind the stomach. It's a small gland behind the stomach. Insulin is a hormone that controls the blood sugar levels, and my pancreas doesn't produce insulin at all, which is why I have to inject insulin in myself. Type 2 diabetes is where the insulin is weak. Not weak. Type 2 diabetes is where the Type 2 diabetes is where the pancreas does not produce enough insulin, or the insulin doesn't work. When I was around the age of 10 years old, I was very sick, and there was a bug going around the school, and we think that could have sort of started off the diabetes showing. Many type 1 diabetes can be environmentally caused, or it could be hereditary, where it goes through the family. Mine was not, as we know, hereditary. It was caused from the environment, and I was very ill. The most signs that you can see from someone being diabetic is they are really thirsty, so they drink lots of water and drinks. From drinking a lot of drinks, they go to the toilet a lot, so they pass a lot of urine. They can sweat a lot, they can feel drowsy, feel sick quite a lot, and that is usually the most common signs that someone has diabetes. I had most of those signs, but because it was very hot during that day, we assumed that it was just that, but I became very weak, and I would sway a lot, and I couldn't hold myself up. So we ended going to the doctors, and I ended up fainting in the doctors before I was able to see a doctor. So I was rushed to a hospital, and then I was rushed to another hospital. But when I fainted in the doctors, the nurse looked at me and just said, "She's got diabetes." And it was sort of, I was in hospital for a week, and it was very scary for me because I didn't know what happened. I don't remember fainting in the hospital. I don't remember even sitting down in the hospital, which I apparently done. Apparently I sat down not in the hospital, in the doctors. I sat down in the waiting room and asked for a drink of water. So they gave me some water, and I sort of gave the cup to my mum, and then I fainted apparently. So I don't remember any of that, and I don't remember the trip to the hospital or to the other hospital. I do remember waking up in the hospital bed with some doctors around me, and it was a very scary thing to happen when I was 10, and I had no idea what I had no idea what diabetes was. No one ever told me what it was. I didn't know what was going on around me, and obviously my family was really scared. So I had to stay in a hospital for a week. I stayed in a few days in one hospital, and then another few days in another hospital where they had told me that they didn't tell me that I was going to have to do insulin. They said to me, "You're going to have to inject yourself with insulin, and you don't have any other option." So it was sort of the first time that I injected myself with insulin in the hospital. And they said I couldn't leave if I couldn't do it myself, so I had to. I had many blood draws and tests done, and it was really scary. But the thing that people don't understand about diabetes is that once you have it, type 1, you've got it for the rest of your life, and you can't do anything about it. There are some people that do have type 2 diabetes, and once they've sorted out their diet, they're done and they don't have it anymore. But for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to inject myself and test my blood 4 times a day on the regular, but most of the time I do it more than that, and people don't seem to realise this severity of it. Many people ask, many of the people that I know don't know I have diabetes, and I'd rather it stay like that. But I did feel very isolated and different to people because I couldn't eat stuff without going, "Oh, I don't know what my blood sugar is like," and they're like, "Why do you have to know that?" And I'm just like, I can't eat anything without that. It makes you feel different and isolated, and I just felt horrible, and I didn't know what to do when I came home from the hospital, and everything was so scary, and I thought I was going to lose everything. And diabetes is not as bad as some other conditions, but it is something that we have to be careful about. We have to know we have to always be cautious about everything. We always have to know stuff. We always have to be careful what we do. I was a very adventurous and very sporty person, but since having diabetes, I sort of calmed down quite a lot and didn't do the sport as much, and sort of my mum, she's the best person in my life, not just because she takes care of me, but sort of, with my diabetes, it's made her more scared that something's going to happen. And so she always has to know what I'm doing or where I am. She has to make sure I'm okay and that nothing happens to me. And sometimes it gets really irritating that I can't do anything on my own without someone being worried about me, but I'd rather not have it any other way. Yes, I sometimes wish and cry that I've got this condition that pulls me back from doing things, because when I was younger I wanted to be in the police force and the firefighter, and I wish I could do that now, but they would never accept me into it because of my condition, and I want to save other people's lives. Please be considerate if you know someone with diabetes, because even though it doesn't seem like a big thing, sometimes it just gets to a point where you break. And I've had many times where I'd cry over my condition, and I have bruises and marks showing where I've done my injections and that, and it just sometimes makes you stop and think that without having injections and stuff, it's what I've got to do to live, and I sort of can't go like a normal day like anyone else would and do whatever they want, because I've always got this thing, and I've got to carry my injection pens and needles and everything with me everywhere I go, and you're never alone. You've always got someone that you can reach out to no matter what, and sorry. I was just moved by Made You Look, her story about her, she always does things to support diabetics and she's looking for a cure and everything, and I wish her the best of luck. You are one of my idols, and your name has suddenly disappeared from my brain, but you are an amazing person, and I'm gonna try and look for your name. Sorry, but it is sort of Lex, of course. Thank you, Lex, for doing so much for for diabetics, and you are one of the reasons I watched one of your videos and it made me smile, because it's sort of, you did what people say to diabetics and what diabetics say, and I could relate to that so much, and I wanted to thank you for everything you've done for diabetes awareness and everything, because I would love to meet you one day, and I would really want to give you a hug and say thank you, and you've made me accept myself, and that's one of the hardest things that I've had to do with having all like bruises and everything on myself, because I didn't feel like myself at all, and I had but you sort of made me see that as possible and made me feel like I could do it, and seeing you succeed in life and going and doing all sorts of things, it sort of widened my eyes to see you. Thank you. And I want to thank everyone else that has given me support.